Ranked play has dropped, and so I got you the new top 5 best class setups right now that you should be using to climb the ranks in Modern Warfare 3. Ladies and gentlemen, the Rival 9 is going to be the overall best SMG in the game, which is why you see all the pro players rock it, which the best seconder in the game is going to be the Karambit, which the Karambit is actually banned in the pro matches, and so I'm very surprised that we actually can use it in rank. We got the Stun as our tactical. I typically don't really use the Smoke. This is more so for like the players who are sitting back and just, search and destroy. And then for the Lethal, we are going to be running the Semtex. Frag is very good for search and destroy. And then we got the Dead Silence on here. If I'm playing Respawn, I'll still run the Dead Silence so I can be in the enemy's face and kind of be a nuance in their spawn. And then for the gloves, we are going to be running the Ordnance gloves. These ones are going to allow you to throw your lethals and your tacticals a lot faster. So if you're playing aggressive with an SMG, this can allow you to spit out those lethals and things a lot quicker. Covert sneakers, so the enemies can't really listen for your footsteps. This can allow you to be a nuance in their spawn a lot easier. And then we got the EOD, so we don't really have to worry about nades, although the attack mass is pretty helpful. And then for the vest, we got the infantry vest, which is the only vest that we're actually allowed to use in the ranked play. So for the first stat on here, we are going to be adding the Purifier muzzle brake because this gun has a lot of horizontal recoil. This is going to be the best muzzle to reduce that horizontal recoil, making this thing a lot easier to use up to medium range, although we are losing a lot of our damage range, so that is pretty annoying, which is why we are going to be adding the clear shot barrel. This is also going to give us a lot of aiming idle sway, and so now it's going to be a lot easier to get that first shot on the enemy. If you get that first shot, it's going to be a lot easier to land those next shots. And then we also get some recoil control, overall making this thing a lot easier to use. Yes, we are losing a little bit of our mobility, but we are going to be compensating that by adding the DR6 hand stop. If you do want a little bit more recoil control, feel free to try out the X10 Phantom, but we don't really need that much recoil control, and so that's why we are going to take advantage of the mobility boost that we are getting with the hand stop. Plus, we do need to mitigate the cons of the barrel. And then for the next attachment, we are going to be going over to the stock. We're going to add the Marauder. So previously, I used to really like the close quarters because if we look at these stats, the close quarters actually gives us way more recoil control compared to the Marauder. But the thing that the close quarters doesn't give us is the firing aiming stability, which that basically means that as we're firing the gun, our gun is going to be very stable. It's not going to sway at all, making it easier to land those next shots. And so that is a very crucial thing. And then lastly, for the rear grip, we are going to be adding the Rival Vice Assault for the same reasons as the stock. We're going to get that firing aiming stability and overall a lot of recoil control, which if you guys do want to take a screenshot of the class, there you guys go. We all know the master camos look amazing in Modern Warfare 3, but they take hundreds of hours to get. So if you want to save yourself some time, I would definitely check out Guapsi. Guapsi is a very reliable company who will play in your account and unlock anything you want with a very fast delivery time. They have been sponsoring me for a long time and I haven't seen a single negative review, and so I would really check them out. I'll have their link in the description. So the SVA 545 just got a pretty big buff. They increased the damage range by 3%, so it doesn't seem like a big buff, but the new attachments in the game make this thing a complete beam, and you're going to be seeing a lot of people rocking this in rank play, which the pros actually just banned it from the pro matches. For this class, so since I do have an AR, we are going to be adding the trophy system on here. Usually with an AR, you want to prop up, let the enemies push you. You're going to run the trophy, make it so your SMG players can play aggressive, not really have to worry about the nades. Frag grenade, Semtex doesn't really matter. Again, search and destroy usually the frag, and then for the respawn, I'll do the Semtex. Stun on here usually always, and then we got the marksman gloves because this one's going to reduce the flinch, so then the enemies can shoot us. Our screen isn't going to shake as much, and we do get reduced idle sway, making it easier to land those next shots. Covert sneakers, so we can move around without the enemies hearing us. Although on some maps, you might want to run the climbing boots, so you can climb, like if you're playing Karachi, you can climb the map a little bit quicker, and so it kind of depends on the map, but overall you don't really want the enemies to hear your footsteps, which is why I'm going to be running the covert on almost every class. Same with the EOD. I don't really want to die by nades as much since I am sitting back. This is going to be the best Renetti build at the moment. I believe that muzzle is G8 in the pro matches, but this is just ranked play, so it doesn't really matter too much. I know the title says Akimbo, but that's just because I edited my Akimbo loadout. And then so for the SVA 545, a brand new muzzle in the game is going to be the Jack BFB. So this one is going to give you so much recoil control with having a decent amount of cons, but really not that much for the amount of pros that you get. This is going to make it super easy to land those next shots. You're going to see how broken this gun is. Although when you do fire it, it is going to increase your radar detection. Basically, you know when you have the advanced UAV up, it does like an arrow on the dot, like showing basically where you're looking. That's what this is going to do. So if you don't really like that, then I would run the belitted brake, or you could go ahead and add another great muzzle. This one is the L4R flash hider, or this other one that the compensated flash hider. This one's got like a half suppressor, reduces the radar ping when you fire your gun, and then you also get a lot of recoil control and firing aim stability. And so I'd stick between like these three. For the next stats, to increase that damage range, we are going to be adding the precision barrel, which you want to increase the damage range a lot of the time, since it does take a lot longer to kill the enemies in this game, since the time to kill is a lot longer, and so it's very crucial you increase that damage range. Plus, we do get a lot of recoil control, and we're not really losing too much mobility, which the mobility that we are losing, we are going to be compensating that by adding the hand stop. Again, if you want more recoil control, then I would add the X10 Phantom, but you should be fine with the hand stop. So the iron sights, for me, I don't really like them. If I'm playing public matches, I can get away with running the iron sights, but if I'm playing like ranked, I need to be able to hit every single shot all of the time. So I'm going to be running the MK3 reflector. 9 model 2023 is also pretty good. Same with the slate reflector. A lot of the pro players say the slate is better if you're rushing, and then the reflector is a little bit better if you're sitting back more. If you don't want to run an optic, I would go over to the rear grip, and then I would add the demo 650 grip. This one adds a lot of fire aim and stability, basically making this gun actually more accurate. It's just I don't like the iron sights, and so I'd rather lose recoil control for a better sight. Then lastly, to eliminate all the recoil in the gun, we are going to be adding the main V6 stock. This one just gives you a lot of recoil gun kick, which is like the overall visual recoil. Then the horizontal is your left to right, vertical is the up and down, and then we're really not losing too much mobility, which we are compensating that with the under barrel. And so here's the screenshot for that class. Now for the next gun we are going to be going over, this is going to be the WSP Swarm, which in my opinion, the WSP Swarm reminds me of the MP7 from Modern Warfare 2. Like, most players would run the Vaznev, which is kind of like the rival in this game, and then you still could do very good with the WSP Swarm, which is kind of like the MP7, if that makes sense. So for the muzzle, we again are going to be adding the Jack BFB just because it eliminates all the recoil. In rank play, you do not want to miss any shots. Every shot is very crucial. You're going against very good players, and then another very good option is going to be the compensator or the L4R flash hider. Pure fire muzzle brake is pretty good, and you know that damage range that we're losing doesn't really matter too much because this thing actually just got buffed. They increased the damage range, I think, by about 10%, so you could get away with that, but I just prefer that Jack. And then increase that damage range, making this thing even better at range. We're going to be adding the Reckless 90 long barrel. Also adds a little bit of recoil control. If we look at the mobility loss, really not losing that much on the gun. Yes, the ADS speed is going to be a lot slower, but this gun already has so much mobility that it doesn't really matter too much, and that's why we are going to be adding the Phantom 5 hand stop. You guys can see a lot of recoil control and a lot of handling. Again, if you are beaming like crazy, you can go ahead and add the hand stop. That's typically what I do in like public matches, but in ranked, since I need to hit every shot, I'm going to be adding the X10 Phantom 5 hand stop. Then for the stock, we are going to be adding the Fortress Heavy. This is going to add a lot of recoil control. If we look at the cons, there really isn't any cons at all. We're only losing 2% to our ADS speed, and we're getting so much recoil control, making this very, very easy to use. Like, this gun without this stock wouldn't really be meta in ranked, but because this thing is so good, it's going to be meta in ranked. And we are going to be adding the Marauder stock for the fire and aiming stability. So now we can fire our gun, and it's not going to really sway as much. Plus, we get a lot of recoil control. So if you guys do want a screenshot of this class, there you guys go. You guys are going to love it so much. Also, if you guys find this video helpful, a subscription is appreciated. You actually will get better at the game. I'll be making the best ranked play classes, and a like will help push the video out a little bit farther. Infantry vest again. Since I will be running around the map a lot, I'm going to be running the Karambit. Usually you want to move around with the Karambit and then, you know, take your gunfights with the WSP Swarm. Stun, Semitex, Dead Silence, Assault Gloves. This one will basically make it so you can jump ADS a lot quicker. In this game, when you jump ADS, your ADS gets slowed down. This is going to make it so it doesn't get slowed down as much, and you're going to have better accuracy if you are jumping around and just playing aggressive. Again, Ordnance is pretty good. Quick Grip is pretty good too, so you can swap from your knife to your primary very fast, and so you kind of just got to run the one that you want. For me, I usually like the Assault. Covert Sneakers, so the enemies don't hear me. I can be in their spawn, be annoying, hold them against the objective, and they just won't know where I'm at. I was going to run Tac Mask on this one because it is annoying to get stunned, but it's also way more annoying to get EOD'd. I mean, to get naded, so it's kind of just personal preference. Mag Holster may be on this build because the fire rate's so fast, but overall you should be fine. For the next gun, this is going to be more of like an honorable mention in a way. This is the HRM-9, which actually is a very good SMG. They just added it to the game. The only thing is that there's a little bit of recoil, but there's not that much recoil. It's a lot of like initial recoil, as you guys can see. Shakes around, then like all the recoil goes away. And so it is very good because the stats are very good. It kills the enemies very quick. It's just a little bit iffy, and so you're not going to see as many people rocking this. but the Jack BFB is going to help a lot, just get a lot of recoil control. Again, feel free to run the compensated flash or the L4R flash hider. And then pure fire, I tried it out, but you know, you need a little bit more vertical recoil control on this gun, which is why we are going to be adding the Primps long barrel. This one's actually, it's not going to give us any recoil. I was trying to have that smooth transition. This one's going to give you a lot of damage range, making it actually one of the best SMGs at range, paired up with the striker. And then we are losing a little bit of our ADS movement speed, which is a little bit annoying, but we get so many pros that it's worth it. And then we are going to be boosting up that mobility by adding the skeletal vertical grip, which this one also gives us some recoil control. I was having a little bit of like trouble trying to figure out what's the best underbarrel, and I was trying out the hand stop. I really like this one in public matches, but for ranked play, I was just doing so much better with the skeletal vertical grip. And then for the stock, we are going to be adding the folding stock just to get that fire and aiming stability. Our gun isn't going to sway in the gunfight, and we get that recoil control with only losing 5% to the ADS speed overall, making it a very good attachment for this gun. Which then for the rear grip, we are going to be adding the assault grip. I accidentally had the range grip on there. That one's good, but you're losing a lot of strafe speed, and you always want to strafe in your gunfights because it gives you a rotational aim assist, and you will be a harder target to hit. So always strafe in the gunfights, and then the assault grip is going to make it so this gun has a little bit less recoil. You guys are probably going to love this build outside of ranked and inside of ranked. Then we got the Renetti as our secondary. Again, this is the Renetti class I've been really liking. I was hoping that we could run the other trigger actions, but it looks like they did ban a lot of those. If you are wondering why they ban a lot of things in ranked play, it's because they don't want it to be about whose gun kills the fastest or who has the best gun. You want to be about the game sense, who's making the best plays and who has basically the best accuracy. So a lot of mechanics and game sense over the stats of your weapon. Then we got the stun, Semitex, dead silence, ordnance gloves, covert sneakers, and tac mask. Infantry vest on there so we can run around a little bit faster. Now for the last class, it's going to be the MCW, which is going to be the best AR in the game. I was going to give you guys a RAM class, but the RAM is just a little bit iffy, and I just couldn't really find a good class for ranked play. And then for this one, we are going to be adding the trophy system, so then we can protect our SMG players. We can hold down those lanes, hold down the objective, and you don't really have to worry about being naded. Frag grenade for search, Semtex for the other modes, doesn't really matter. Stun, marksman gloves again, so it's easier to stay on target at range. Covert sneakers so you can move around without the enemies hearing you, but keep in mind you might want to run like the climbing boots, or maybe you want to run the lightweight boots just so you can move around a little bit quicker. I believe, yeah, so you do not want to run running sneakers because that's gonna basically do what infantry vest does, and those two things together are gonna get canceled out. It's not gonna give you even more movement speed, so don't ever run those. And then we got the EOD on here, so you don't have to really worry about nades. And then for the class on here, so there's actually a few different MCW builds, so don't just take this first one. There's another one that's very good that's banned in the pro matches, and you might get you might get called some names if you use it in rank play because it's very broken. So for this one though, the pro player build, a lot of them run the belitted break. This one is gonna eliminate all that vertical recoil, and we get a lot of fire and aim and stability overall, making this gun an absolute beam. Yes, we are losing damage range, and this thing just got nerfed. Well, the Cyclone barrel just got nerfed for the damage range, and so this gun isn't nearly as good at range, which is good though, because now the SMGs are a little bit stronger since this game was very AR heavy. Jack BFB is good, it eliminates all that recoil, but you don't really need that because the belitted is gonna already do so. I was going to add the compensated flash, but it's so satisfying to run the break because there's absolutely no recoil on the gun. L4R flash hider, a lot of pro players run this as well. So the flash hider and the belitted break are going to be the two most popular and best options for the gun. Cyclone barrel to increase that damage range that we are losing with that muzzle. Yes, the damage range really isn't that good on this gun, but you know, it's still going to be the meta one in ranked play. And then we're not really losing too much cons at all besides the accuracy, but that stuff doesn't really matter too much. I was going to add, I think it was the midnight barrel. This one adds more damage range, but we're losing a little bit of our recoil control, and we do get more mobility. So I really like the midnight, but I swear that I have like way more recoil on my gun when I use the midnight. Like, it's actually hard to hit my shots, but then when I add the cyclone, it's so easy. And so I still would try the midnight. Who knows, you might like it more. And then for the underbarrel, we are going to be adding the X10 Phantom 5 hand stop. If you want a lot of mobility, run the hand stop. All the pros are going to be running the Phantom 5 one. And then for the rear grip, we got the RB Claw PSL grip. This is kind of where it gets into personal preference. So I like this one because it gives us fire and aiming stability, making it very easy to be accurate and just very consistent. Yes, we're losing aiming idle stability, sway, but we get fire and aiming stability. That is way more important, and so that's why I really like the rear grip. But I do see a lot of pro players, including like Lunchtime, you guys all know him. He runs the RB Regal heavy stock, but the recoil heavy just got nerfed like heavily. It used to give you way more recoil control, but it gives you like half as much now, and the cons are pretty heavy, and so I don't really like it, but you might like to run the recoil heavy over the other attachments. So it is a little bit personal preference. You got to use and find the one that you like the most. And then for the sight, I am running the MK3 reflector. Slayer reflector is also pretty good. So if you guys do want a screenshot of one of the pro player classes, this is a pro player class. And then if you want my favorite class, which is also a pro player class, there you guys go. And then one other one that is very broken that is actually banned in the pro matches is to not run an optic. You want to go over to the stock, then add the RB recoil heavy stock. So all the pro players actually said that running a sight is, no, you have to run a sight. If you run iron sights, that's against the rules. So you have to run a sight in the pro matches because this build is so broken. They don't want people to have this much mobility and this much recoil control at the same time. And so the adding a sight is kind of like a nerf on the gun, but it's also very good, if that makes sense. And so this build is one I'm going to be rocking a lot. I just know people are going to get mad at me for not following GAs, and so that's why I'm not going to be running it as much. Got the karambit so we can run around a little bit quicker. So, I think I already showed you guys all of this. So that's going to wrap it up. Oh, yo, the honorable mention. I'll go over this really quick. So this is going to be the sniper build. You guys really do need a sniper class. You only really use this in search and destroy. And so we are going to be adding the KATT-AMR. XRK Stalker is pretty good, but you get less hit markers with the KATT, and you're going to be hard scoping a lot rather than running around quick scoping. So that's why I do think the KATT is a little bit better. And basically for any sniper build in the game outside of ranked, in ranked, you always just want to maximize that ADS speed. So if you need to, quit scope, or if you can just be a little bit more mobile and get to those lane of sights a little bit quicker and just ADS on them. And so I do recommend just to max out that ADS speed. Actually, it looks like my class got messed up. I'm super sorry about that, guys. I don't know. Okay, so yeah, no magazine. Basically, this is going to be the class you want to rock. You could run these, but you don't need recoil control at all, and so I don't really recommend them, but I know some people might like that. But this is going to be the meta one. I don't really care to run an optic. The optics are all personal preference, and so just use the one that you want. For me, I prefer not to run an optic. Then for the secondary, we are going to be rocking the Renetti. This class is a little bit different. We just swapped out the rear grip for the Renetti wood grain, so then we can swap to our pistol a little bit quicker. And yes, the mobility increase with this one's nice, but if you're using a sniper and you have someone rush you, might want to pull out that pistol very quickly. Hole puncher just so you can hit the enemies a little bit quicker. A lot of pro players actually don't run that. I believe that is banned in the pro matches. And then we got the marksman gloves, so we have less sway, covert sneakers, so we can run around without the enemies hearing us in search. EOD, and then frag, smoke. Keep in mind, smoke is only allowed in search. And with all that said, that's going to wrap it up. I wish you guys the best of luck on your rank grind. Leave a like, subscribe, and doses.